Well, you.
Oh, hey.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Greg. How are
Hey, Greg.
you?
I don't think we're officially on the air yet. I just want to hold this up.
We just started. We just went live.
Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and say it anyway. I am enjoying a glass of cranberry juice and 7-Up mixed 50-50. It's a heck of a thirst quencher, so it's not wine. But that's what it is.
You're missing the vodka, man. Just because this question came up, need to remind the council members to not to stray from any council discussions other than forestation matters. Just because well, there's only 3 right now, but if Doug shows up at 4, then we officially have a quorum. So behave yourselves.
And you asked a lot. Boy.
It is really the pot calling the kettle black. Yes, me.
Yeah. He doesn't know how to behave.
It depends on how you define behave.
That's true. That's true.
I did not hear from Sylvia. I do not know if she's going to join us today. I think Lee may try to listen in from Connecticut. We'll just have to wait and see on that. But I have heard from him, and they're doing well. He's hoping to get a week and then be back in Prospect soon. So it's 2:00. I'd like to call the meeting to order.
Is Andrea coming?
No.
Okay.
I'll address that shortly. She's not going to be here. So our first order of business would be to review the minutes from December 8th. You should have all received those, and I need to know if there's any changes, questions, corrections.
I reviewed them. They look great. So
How about a motion?
I motion we accept them.
Second?
Her.
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, minutes approved. Now, normally we go on to Mr. Mayor. What would you like to share with us today?
Is this a normal meeting?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Of interest to the Forestation Board, last night's council meeting, you may already know this, most of you are on the council. But we had a first reading of an amended budget for the current year, and we have a special meeting scheduled for tomorrow early afternoon. I forget the exact time, 1:30, I think. It affects the forestation board if it passes in a positive way. I'm just trying to find it right here. Yeah, here it is. Currently, the budget as it currently exists, tree planting is budgeted for $2,500, of which, according to this, approximately $1,900 has been spent, and that may not be up to date as far as what's already been spent. Anyway, the 2,500 would be increased to 5,500, so there'd be an additional 3,000 for tree planting, and that's the one change that has been proposed. So that's a matter of interest. I previously told this board that for tree planting, if this budget did not get increased, that we could do more tree planting, and I'd pay for it out of the mayor's contingency fund, which has more than 3,000 left in it. But that either way, you're going to have the money. I mean, I could go on and talk about other subjects, but I think that's probably sufficient.
That's very good news. We appreciate it. Anybody have other questions for the mayor?
No, we appreciate the
Absolutely.
increase in planning.
Normally, we would have Andrea doing her update at this time, but she emailed yesterday that there had been a family medical crisis and she was leaving town on short notice and we had gone for several days. So she sends her apology, and I know she was working on a suggestion for a replacement tree for the island in Hunting Creek up near Wife Hill. So we don't have that, but we had already determined a suitable substitution for the oak tree that's coming down in Cowley Park. So that's a project that's in the works, and just based on looking at new trees and the feedback we've had from the mayor and some of the council members unofficially is that one of the things we had hoped to do so far included not only the trees that were planted, but the perimeter plantings for Cowley Park. That process will begin with the replacement for the oak tree. And if we have additional monies available to us, I would like to take that segment of what we had researched and discussed with, different committees in the city and resubmit the Cowley Park planting to council. And that would be our recommendation if the rest of the forestation board agrees with me to use that money that's now available to us.
Good idea.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Couple of questions about that, if I might. The replacement tree for the big oak that's due to come down, how big a replacement tree? Well, maybe this is a question for Andrea, but I'm curious how big a tree, how mature a tree could we put in there?
Well, it is another oak tree that was recommended, and she does recommend a certain diameter tree.
2-inch caliper.
Let's say that's kind of where I was going next. Thanks, Herb. That the 2-inch would be more successful more quickly than say going to a 4-inch because it's easier to establish and will grow faster and be healthier. So that's about where we would start. It won't be an instant result, but you'll definitely see enough with a 2-inch caliper tree that there's something green and growing there.
Yeah, but I'm 82. I want to be able to see a nice big tree.
Well, you'll get to see some of it. We all will. But
Well,
you know,
just stay alive, Mayor.
yeah.
I'm working on it. Now, my other question, as far as the replacement at the island, at the entrance to Hunting Creek,
Mm-hmm.
you know what Andrea plans for there? What
Not at
kind
this
of
time.
tree?
I do not know. Do you have suggestions or something you have a vision
Well,
for?
the one that we took out, I think, used to be blue spruce, but I think that we're experiencing, not just the city, but everywhere is experiencing
There's a
problems with those
That's right.
spruce trees. And I don't know what other options are out there. I just thought maybe Andrea had indicated some possibilities for there.
We did discuss spruce trees at one of our meetings, and I don't have my notes in front of me to check that, but there are some other evergreens that could be put there in place of a spruce that would not be currently vulnerable to any diseases the way the spruces are suffering.
Yeah, I don't want to put words in her mouth, but I pretty much thought she said really recommend against
Yes,
planting any spruce.
I don't want to see another spruce, but there are some other evergreens that we can look at.
I think her plan was to bring this suggestion to the, to the board today.
Yes.
So I think we're real close to being able to make a recommendation on that, Mayor.
Yeah, what I'll do is when she's able to contact us again, I will put that in the information that we send in our report to council, so that can be considered as part of the evaluation at their next meeting.
That sounds good.
Any other questions, Mr. Mayor or council members?
Yeah, the plan for Cowley Park, I know in my head, I know where those trees are planned to go, but I don't remember what kind of trees are in the plan.
There were a variety of trees. I think there were 7 trees planned, and we had diagrams of what went where, and most of those were selected based on growth habit, looking at things that were not going to impact the sidewalks over time, would give the clearance to the city for events that will happen in the future in that space. So there was a lot of thought put into the different varieties. And when you resend that information, it will have the details.
Yeah, I was going to ask for that. If you
Yeah.
could send that plan out to each of us so that we could see what's
Yeah,
in
we had
there.
growth habits, we had spacing, we had a lot of information as well as pictures of each variety where they were located. So when it goes out again, it'll have all those details for everyone.
And when will that be?
Linda, I can briefly tell what they were. I don't think we got enough money to do all of them, but they're
Yes, you-
all pretty close to the
yes, you do.
sidewalk.
That's right.
But they're black gum and a Prince oak and a Jordan Street oak and a red maple. That's pretty, and another sweet gum.
Non-fruiting, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Linda, from the council side, do you guys mind? Because I actually Googled the Burgundy Flush Sweet Gum and saw it was the fruitless variety, so I made notes of that last time, but it wasn't any. It might be in the report, but I might have missed it. So when you guys gin up your or just edit, maybe add, hey, this is the fruitless varietal. I don't know if I know the black gum came up because it has a little black fruit, but if it's tiny and insignificant, that might be worth writing that in there too. I don't want to speak to that. I don't know anything about it. I just know when you Google it, it says black fruit. And then I had a second question, mainly from a council perspective. Is it traditional for the forestation that when they're allotted money that they always get council approval to plant, or is this just a particular thing because it's Cali Park?
This
I
was
think
a little more complicated because it is a park. So, Linda Wardell was involved with it. We had quite a few discussions with Ron because of it being a public space that was used and, with more plans for more activities in the future. So we involved more people than usual, but we normally let them know what's being planted and where and get approval. And that's kind of my understanding of how it's always been done. I mean, Greg, you were on the board before and when I joined, and I think that was being done while you were on the board.
I think it's because it's Cali Park.
It's gotten a lot of extra attention for sure.
Okay, thanks, Linda. I was just curious because I know for parks, we don't, being on the Parks Committee, we don't go back to the council for each item, after we had the budget. So I'm not advocating anything different. I was just curious if it was like written in policy or something. I assumed Cali Park was getting more attention, but I just wanted to check in general. I was just curious.
Yeah, Cali Park, just because of the nature of it being such an important city space, had to be looked at very carefully and with a lot of thought and planning before anything was proposed.
I just want to say that Don Cali was a very good friend of mine, and he would be so surprised to know that that park was named for him. He would really be surprised.
Okay.
He died on my birthday, by the way, in 1991.
Oh,
Let's do that.
okay. So I think that's everything on new trees. And without Andrea here to add any comments or be able to answer any questions further, let's move on to the problem trees. We already talked about that the one spruce is gone. We know that the oak will come out sometime in the near future. That's been arranged. And the only other one is the spruce that's at City Hall needs to come out. We will, if the board approves and agrees with Andrea's recommendation, we'll make a motion at this time to remove the spruce at City Hall. And once we do that, we'll submit the paperwork to Ron so he can address the project.
It's right outside my window, and I second the motion.
Okay. All in favor?
I
Okay. Well, Ron, you'll get a form in the near future. Make it,
Yeah, I already had that one actually on the to-do list.
Yeah, Ron and I were looking at it yesterday.
Just to update you, there was a dead box elder in Little Hunting Creek right off the parking lot. I had the guys take that out last week. So it was to the point it was going to fall and hurt probably me. So
wow, we don't want that.
I said take
We
it
don't
out.
want that. Glad you did. We don't want you hurt, man.
Me either.
I've made a note on that, so very good. Tree City, I'm still working on that. It should be completed this week, which is within the deadline. It's bits and pieces of information that you go on a website and plug in, and I think we have most everything we need to complete it at this time. So I'm very optimistic that all the things we've done over the past year will keep that certification going. So I think that's a good thing. And otherwise, I really don't have a whole lot else, and we normally aren't
Yeah.
as busy this time of year.
Let me bring up something.
Sure.
New item. New old item, I guess. The Arbor Fest in the spring. I just say in February we make a firm decision. I mean, we were talking about it's looking like we're not going to be able to do it, but there is $2,500 that was in the previous budget, and I think it will stay in the amended budget.
Yeah,
But if we're not going to have a Arbor Fest, we'll see if somehow that the city could allow us to take the 2,500, and maybe we would then be able to finish the planning there in College Park.
Yeah, Herbie, I'm glad you brought that up. It probably should have been on the agenda. I think we don't know enough about it, when it's going to be safe enough to have a community event. And the other question that comes into play here is, typically we would maybe do it in late April, which is close to when the actual Arbor Day event is nationally. So that would be a good thing, but we have to put in an order in advance for trees. And I don't know what the lead time on trees would be in the spring. And that's a question we'd have for Andrea. And, she's not here. So I think as an alternative, I really like the suggestion that could be hopefully approved by council to move from Arbor Fest to planting if needed, so we can continue that project.
Arbor Day is April 30th, by the way.
I thought it was late April. Yep. Thank you.
Well, why don't we ask Andrea, and then if we need to, I would say by February. Well, let's just find out, and if we feel like we're not going to have it, we'll send a letter to council requesting this.
Well, with February, we should be back on our schedule that we will meet before council does. So we would have more complete information, not only on that event, but they'd have the proposal of what we want to do for Cali Park and a replacement for the Creek Island by then.
Okay.
well, this proposed amended budget, which got a first reading last night, comes up for vote tomorrow at the special meeting called by me at 1:30. If it passes, our budget ordinance would not be as detailed as it is currently. Currently, the budget ordinance is extremely detailed. And if this amended budget ordinance passes tomorrow, it won't be that detailed. So it'll be easier to move money around within the forestation budget.
Great.
I think that could be very helpful just from, I know in my corporate days is, I had a bucket of a certain size to work with and I had a big number to hit. And then within that, I could move money as needed depending on activities.
That's what this hopes to achieve. Yeah.
Okay. Looks like we would have a meeting in February on the 9th. And the 2:00 time seems to work for most of us. So I'd like to go ahead and plan for that. And then if there's not another topic to discuss, I'd just like to thank everybody for joining us today. And we'll keep working on the presentation and the information for council to review. And I'm sure we'll be checking in with Lee and let Sylvia know what's going on and go from there.
Linda, what is the date of the next forestation meeting?
February 9th,
Did you say 2 o'clock, Linda?
2 o'clock, yes.
Have you scheduled?
Typically what we do is the second Tuesday of the month. Okay, Herb, Connie, anything else from you guys on forestation?
No,
Well, on February 9th, I'm not expecting any birthday gifts, but if somebody brings cake to the virtual meeting, I'm okay with it.
We'll keep that in mind.
You can eat your cake virtually.
There you go.
Okay, I make a motion to adjourn.
We'll have the cake brought to City Hall, and then we'll just go from there.
oh, yummy.
Well, thank you.
Make a chocolate cake.
Yeah, you're making me hungry. Everyone-
Okay, I second Herb's motion if we adjourn.
Okay, we are.
And we appreciate council persons being in attendance.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes,
Ever got questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. So
thank you.
all.
Thanks, guys. Tell Andrea we're thinking about her.
I will.
Thank
Hopefully
you,
Hi,
Ron.
everyone.
Thank you,
Okay.
Ron.
Thanks, Ron.
Oh, thank you, Herb.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Oh,
Bye.
Sylvia,
Yeah,
are you still
Linda,
there? Have you been
I'm
here?
here. Yeah.
Because we're adjourning.